With the recent release of the private servers and files being public, Frontier is catching the eyes of many Monster Hunter players. Many of those who, like me, have never had the chance to experience the game before. But information on the game nowadays is very hard to come by, or incomplete in some cases. And so I decided to at least start making some of this information much more accessible and hopefully easier to understand. And I wanted to start with my main and favorite weapon in Frontier, the famous Tonfas. Before we start explaining what the weapon can do, let me explain what the weapon is. And from an outsider's perspective, Tonfas might seem like impact dual blades. To that I say, yes and no. While dual blades are much more grounded focused, Tonfas get a lot of their damage in most styles from air combos. These weapons are very unique even in Frontier itself, being one of the few weapons that allow you to run in any style, having a jump with iframes. A unique mechanic dubbed Kai that we will get into later. And the useful X gauge. Tonfas take a bit to get used to and learn, but will reward the players with good damage output, great mobility, and flashy combos. For this guide, I will be sharing my own knowledge from my time with the game and the weapon, plus a really handy guide made by some dedicated French hunters which I will link in the description so you can have that information as well. If you are wondering how to get the Tonfas, it's the same as Extreme Style. It's available as soon as you reach G rank. If you don't see it available, just fight either Yain Kutku or a Picaridon in G rank. And the material should be able to let you make Tonfas now. For the sake of consistency and not confusing myself or anyone, I will use the PlayStation button prompts to explain all the moves. But I will show in the screen the button placements on the screen so you can easily change it according to your controller. To start, I'll show the moves and mechanics that can be used in all of the different styles. So let's begin with the two forms of the Tonfas, long form and short form, which you can change to either by holding R1 and pressing triangle for long form and circle for short form. The main difference between the two forms is that they reverse the hits and values completely. This requires a lot of monster knowledge. So this image should hopefully explain it a lot better than I could. In long form, you have a 5-hit triangle combo that ends in a chargeable attack. In short form, you have a 7-hit triangle combo. While the ending moves for triangle attacks change in the two forms, your circle attacks stay the same, and you have a 6 combo attack. All of your triangle and circle attacks can be used interchangeably in the combo at any moment, and you can always end all the combos with a backflip kick. Tonfas has a single hit, unsheath attack, and 2 different running attacks, one with triangle and another with circle. Now that we covered ground attacks, let's move to your available aerial options. Pressing R1 and X will make your hunter jump into the air. This move has iframes at the beginning of the jump, so it's good to get out of low-hitting attacks. Compared to your ground triangle attacks, the aerials ones do not change between long or short form, and both you have the same 3-hit combo. What does change, however, is your circle attack. In long form you have a spinning attack that acts as an active hitbox, but only hits once. And in short form, this gets changed into a dive kick that kicks you up in air, allowing you to continue attacks in the air. While in the air, you can perform air dodges with X that allow you to not only avoid attacks, but reposition yourself to keep air combos going for longer. Like mentioned before, Tonfas allow you to run in any style, simply double tap the left stick in any direction. The Tonfas do have a guard point on several attacks, but I was not able to pull them off at all, but know that it is detailed in the guide. The Tonfas have a unique mechanic dubbed Kai. It works very similarly to status ailments. Whenever you hit a monster, you'll notice an aura emanating from each hit, going through the colors of green, yellow, and red. and when it's red, the next hit will fully load whatever spot you hit with Kai. You'll see the monster has a red aura shining from this spot. Pressing triangle and circle will perform the move that will be named as Kai Release, that will unleash the Kai and blow up the shining part. Kai Release can be performed on the ground and on the air. The ground version will perform a single strike, while the air version is a diving attack. The ground version deals out more damage, or at least that's what the French guide says. Depending on where the Kai energy was released from, 3 different temporary benefits are granted. If it was on the head, any and all attacks cause impact damage. From the tail, a continuous bleeding effect is applied on the monster's tail that also does continuous lashing damage. Actually being able to cut tails, albeit unreliably truth be told. From any other body part, like wings or claws, Blademasters regenerate 15 points of sharpness, and gunners receive a temporary attack boost. Performing Kai Release also fills your combo and EX gauge, which will be talked about later for each style, and grants a temporary infinite use of the gauges indicated by the transparent yellow highlight. Kai is a very useful tool for all Tonfa users, and multiple Kai loads can be applied and released at the same time. Performing several Kai releases at once also increases the amount of time that the infinite EX use is available. The Tonfas are played in different ways in the 4 styles, each one changing the general gameplay of the Tonfas. To begin, let's start with the most close to mainline style, Earth style. Earth style is in some ways very similar to Guild style from Generations, meaning that it's the weapon in its most basic form. In this style, Tonfas has all of the previously mentioned attacks and actions, with nothing too crazy. Below your stamina bar is the Tonfas combo gauge that fills up as you attack and dodge through monster attacks. Each red bar grants a bonus 5% attack boost that caps at a 25% boost. There is a skill that can increase that cap to 6 bars, granting you a cap of 30% attack boost. As soon as you reach the cap, the white circular gauge, which counts the amount of time you have before you lose the attack boost, starts to drop faster than before, prompting the player to be more active, either by attacking more or dodging through attacks. Contrary to the name, Heaven style wants players to play a much more grounded game. Your gauge is now different. Now you have the addition of the EX gauge. And the combo gauge no longer boosts attack, but now determines how fast the EX gauge fills up. Heaven style duos give players the bonus 25% attack boost from Earth style, but it only applies to ground combat. The new EX gauge in Heaven style gives access to EX dodges, which are performed by pressing R1 and square and can be used in 4 directions: forwards, backwards, left, and right. The EX dodges also perform attacks while evading, and performing EX dodges through monster attacks grants a temporary small attack boost to these EX dodge attacks. Aerial combat is relatively the same, only difference is that you lose the dive kick from short form, meaning aerial combat should be used as a means to avoid low-hitting moves. Ground combat is heavily encouraged in Heaven style. Storm style is a more simplified version of Heaven style. You lose the combo gauge, retain the EX gauge, but lose EX dodges. But gain 2 new moves: EX charge and EX box. In Storm style, your second triangle attack can now be charged and can be pushed even further with EX charge. Just press and hold R1 while charging the second attack. The EX box is a unique attack that should be used in opportune moments. You can perform EX box by holding R1 and using triangle and circle, like in Kai Release. The hunter unleashes a flurry of attacks as the EX gauge is slowly drained. As you land your strikes, the Tonfas and the little bowl right next to the EX gauge will change color, from green to yellow to red. Pressing triangle and circle again will cause a special type of release that, based on what color at the time the release was performed, it deals damage accordingly, but this is not Kai Release. This will not grant any bonuses, it is a move purely for damage. Extreme style pulls in the best of all the 3 other styles. You basically have it all here. You have all the basic actions. The combo gauge gives attack boost like in Earth style, and it determines how fast EX gauge fills up like in Heaven style. You have the EX dodges from Heaven style plus EX air dodges as well. You have EX box and EX charge from Storm. And lastly, Extreme style brings a new defensive maneuver called Emergency Retreat. It's performed while in the air, by pressing R1 and X, and in any 4 directions like EX dodges. While you do have everything at your disposal in Extreme style, making it seem really powerful. It is very important to note that many moves are weaker than their original form in other styles to balance it out. Well, you are free to use whichever style you want however you want. I want to give an overview of how the design of each style would want you to play. Earth style is very basic, the combo gauge wants you to be very aggressive to keep that full 25% attack boost going. So going for either aerial or grounded moves is fine, as long as you play aggressively. Use Earth style if you want a more basic play. Heaven style really wants you to play grounded. With a 25% attack boost on ground combat, the EX ground dodges, the limited way to stay airborne without the dive kick. Heaven style is mostly for ground combat. So choose Heaven style if you want to focus more on ground play. Storm style follows Heaven style, but it's much more stripped down IMO. The Xbox is nice though. So use Storm style if you want something between Earth and Heaven style. Extreme style is pretty much the jack of all trade style. Having all of the moves is nice, but many moves are nerfed. If you don't mind the nerfs and want everything the weapon has to offer, then extreme style is for you. The Tonfas are, in my opinion, incredibly fun to use. The mobility and aggressive play that this weapon provides is great. The weapon is not the strongest in either raw damage or elemental. It still gets beaten out by switch axe, hammer, great sword, and dual blades. But the weapon is way more than capable and can be a beast in the right hands. Personally, I tend to use extreme style the most. EX air dodges are just too fun to pull off. But that is about it. I hope this guide was helpful in some way. If you know something I left out, please don't hesitate to share in the comments. The more information out there, the better for everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day, and I wish you happy hunting.